and welcome to the Knitterarium podcast. My name is Ruth, your host, and I'm a knitwear designer in Westmeath in Ireland, where this podcast is coming to you from. Today is Saturday the 27th of May and this is episode 20. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It is as always lovely to have you come back. If you are a new to me viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope you stick around. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to spend it with me. The places that you can find me are on my website, Knitterarium.com. You can find me on Instagram as Knitterarium, and you can find me in our Ravelry Group, Knitterarium. If you just search under the Groups tab on Ravelry, you will find us there, or I will put all of the links down here below, so that they are easily accessed for you, so you'll know where to find them. You will also find in the Ravelry group there are a number of threads: introduction, chatter. You will find the knit along threads, and you will also find an ask me anything thread and various other ones. So do come along and join us. We'd love to have you. I think really with all of that out of the way, we can get comfortable, grab our knitting, and we'll get started with the inside world of Knitterarium. This week in Knitterarium has seen the release of Neve, and we're going to take an up close look at Neve. If you are a newsletter subscriber, you probably have gotten your newsletter already. You can sign up for my newsletter on my website, and the link for that is down below. So Neve has been released. Neve is the 5th pattern in the Ladies of Legend collection, and I will pop up her finished photograph here now. And we will we'll take a look, a more up close look at her, and we're also going to I'm going to read her story to you as well. So we'll take a look first of all at Neve, because I have her here in my arms. So this is Neve. You'll see she is a smooth stockinette and crescent shaped shawl, and she's got a tiny not a tiny, I suppose a short wave border part way down, and then she has this beautiful deep wave border that expands on the bottom. So she's I love this border. We'll take a close-up look at that. That's her border, and then beautiful smooth stockinette. The yarn that was used for this sample was Life in the Long Grass. The blue was Mountain Path, I'm nearly sure, and it is a very pale blue. It's almost silver. It's a pale blue. It's called Silver Sky. For that, now it uses a skein of any two of your chosen colours, and the span width of this is nearly a third of my my span width. So it is. So she's lovely, and she's lovely and wide and really comfortable. And being a crescent, I find sometimes the crescent shawls, they just sit wonderfully around your shoulders, so it does. And it's quite perfect actually for today, because we have lots and lots of rain back today. Considering yesterday we had blistering heat of 24 degrees, and today it started to rain. It forgot to stop. We'll take a look at Neve's story now. I'll just get that up for you. So Neve's story. And when I read Neve's story, you'll understand some of the design elements that that is in it, and I'll go through those when we finish the story. So Niamh's story is: long, long ago in ancient Ireland there lived an island far off to the west. This was the island of Tirnanog. Only fairies lived on this island. It was an island of great beauty, and nobody ever aged. Everyone lived forever. There was no sorrow or hunger or thirst. On Tirnanog there lived a fairy princess by the name of Niamh, and for years she had heard about a great warrior by the name of Oisín, and she wanted desperately to meet him. One day she left Tirnanog, and she set off across the sea on her magical horse Ember to visit Ireland and meet Oisín. Oisín was indeed a great warrior, son of Fionn McCool and leader of his band of Fianna warriors. They spent many days exploring the countryside as they hunted. On one of these trips, Oisín saw in the distance a beautiful white horse galloping towards them. On its back was the most beautiful woman Oisín had ever seen. Her hair was golden like the sun and fell to her waist. She wore a blue dress, the colour of the sky itself. As she drew close, all the men stopped. "I am Niamh," she said. "My father is king of Tirnanog, a land that knows no sorrow and where no body grows old. I have heard a great many things of the warrior Oisín. I have come to meet him and to ask him to come back with me to the land of eternal youth." Oisín, having fallen in love with Niamh from the first sight of her riding towards them, stepped forward and said, "I am Oisín, and I will return with you to Tirnanog." Fionn didn't want his son to go, and although sad at leaving his father and the Fianna, Oisín promised him to return to Ireland to see him again soon. Then, mounting the horse behind Niamh, the white horse set off for Tirnanog. As Niamh had promised, Tirnanog knew no sorrow. No one went hungry or thirsty, and everyone lived forever. Niamh and Oisín were married and lived for many years happy together, although a small part of Oisín missed Ireland and his father and the Fianna. Soon enough the longing in Oisín grew to return to Ireland, and he begged Niamh to let him return. Niamh was reluctant because she knew the danger of Oisín returning to Ireland and that she would never see her husband again. Niamh saw how much Oisín missed his family, and because she loved him so much, she agreed to let him return and see them. She gave him her magical white horse Ember, and before leaving warned him not to get off the horse or to let his feet touch the ground, for if he did, he would be unable to ever return to Tirnanog. This Oisín promised. Oisín set off across the sea on Niamh's horse and soon arrived in Ireland, but things he could see had changed. What Oisín didn't know was that time had moved more slowly in Tirnanog, and what seemed like only a few years had, in fact, been 300 years in Ireland. The Fianna no longer rode the countryside hunting, and the castles and homes they all lived in stood in crumbling ruins. As he searched for his father and the Fianna, he came across two old men who were trying to move a large boulder. He stopped to help them and leant down on the horse to help them, and in doing so lost his balance and fell to the ground. The moment Oisín touched the ground, he aged the 300 years he had been gone from Ireland, and Ember turned and galloped back to Tirnanog. Now, a frail old man, he asked the men to tell him where his father, Fionn McCool, was, and the Fianna. They told him they had been gone for many years. Broken-hearted and hundreds of years old, Oisín died soon after. On seeing Ember return empty of its rider, Niamh knew Oisín was dead and would no longer return to her, and her heart broke. Never again has Niamh or Ember crossed the ocean from Tirnanog. And that is Niamh's story. So you will see from the story why Niamh is a beautiful blue, dark blue, and why she has beautiful pale blue then for her border. She takes her inspiration very much from the story and the legend itself. And that is the story of Niamh. And as I said, this is the fifth shawl in the Ladies of Legend collection. There is just one more shawl, Grania. There's just one more shawl, Grania, to come in the collection. And I have been working away on this for part of the week because I was right. I ran out of beads and I needed to get some more. They arrived yesterday. They arrived yesterday, so I was able to get a bit more done on it yesterday. But for the middle part of the week, I couldn't work anymore on Grania. So for Grania, I am using this beautiful grey. This is again Life in the Long Grass, and it's 100% superwash merino. I have finished with the beads. As I said, I got working on it yesterday. It arrived just in the nick of time because I couldn't proceed any further with it, and I was about to cast on another new design, so while I was waiting, but the beads just popped in the door with the postman, so I was saved, I suppose, from starting something new before this one was finished. So this here is Neve, and you'll see, well, she's quite bunched up now. She's going to be again another wide crescent shawl, and we'll just take a quick close up of the lace. This is the lace, and I am knitting that one on my 4mm Chowgoos. Yeah, my Chowgoo interchangeables. These are the beads. They're going to focus. Oh, there we are. These are Debbie Abrams size 6, and they're in the colour number 56. Those are. So that is what I've been working on. That is what I've been working on when I've had the beads, and I'm really enjoying this. As I said last week, if you weren't actually adding the beads to this design, I would imagine that this would be done in a week or two. It really does go that quickly. While I was waiting for the beads, I pressed on with working on my new sock design. Here we are. I have to just grab the right bag. So my new sock design. Okay, sock. I'm not going to show you sock 2 because I have worked some of the design, and I don't want. I'm not ready yet to just show that quite yet. I am using this beautiful. This is Rose Garden. I think it's Rose Garden. Yes, Rose Garden from the Wool Barn, and it is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And you will see in it, it's got flecks of pink and yellow and green throughout it. And for contrast, I am using this. This is Eden Cottage Yarns Oakworth 4-ply. This is 100% New Zealand Polworth wool, and it is in Summer Harvest, the colourway for this. So they're the two colours I'm using in my sock. And the name of the sock, I was telling you, I was thinking about it a little bit. I wanted to think about it a little bit longer. I can show you sock 1. I have completed just the ribbing on this, and so we'll get just a little look at the. This is the Rose Garden. So this is how it's knitting up. The beautiful flecks just showing up in it. It's lovely. I am knitting these on my 2.25 Knit Pro Zings. Oh, and the name, yes, sorry, I was getting back to that, wasn't I? The name is, the name of these socks is going to be Wildflower Honey. That is the name of these socks. As I said, I wanted to just think a bit more on the name and make sure that it fit the design and what I wanted with the design. So that was that. As I said, I was going to start another shawl design while I was waiting for the beads for Grania to come in, but they arrived just in time, so I didn't start that. I am expecting, on Grania itself, I have only another 6 or 8 rows, I think, before I cast off. Some of those I might get done today. If not, it'll be done very early next week. So I will be able to cast on that new cast on during the week. So I have that to look forward to. So I think we will move on now into what's on my needles. As you'll have gathered from last week, or if you're just new, I am down to my preferred three whips, which is what I like to work on, just 3 whips. I have a garment, some socks and a shawl. And this week I got to work on each of them, and it was lovely, and I feel I really got to make some progress, even though on my garment itself I got to work on it last weekend, but not so much during the week when I was doing some work knitting, but I did get even some rows on it last night, which was lovely. So I find I am getting round on each of the 3 projects, and I find for just my personal knitting that it's just 3 is the perfect number. So it is. We'll probably just call this episode that 3 is the perfect number. So the first project I have are another pair of 2 Darcy with Love socks. I'm not going to pop another picture of that in here because I think I've showed it several times already on the podcast, and you will be able to just look it up in my Ravelry library, and links to that are down below. So the 2 Darcy with Love socks, this is sock 1. I was here last week. I had just 1 repeat of the leg done. I had the cuff and 1 repeat of the leg done. So I have this one fully complete. This is ready now for a teal flap and gusset, and it is going to be worked in this natural colour from Chopel wool. Admiral Chopel wool is going to be the contrast colour. So that is sock 1, and this yarn here is Sherwood Yarns BFL in the Marion colourway. That's what this colourway is. So that is sock 1. Sock 2. Sock 2. Look at my very cute cinnamon roll. Sock 2. I am this far. This way so you can actually see. So I had just the cuff done last week, and I have nearly one repeat done on the leg. I was knitting a few rows on this earlier today. So I have, I've started that. So I'm expecting now to press on with that and get that one done. I am knitting those on my 2.25 Xiaogus, my Xiaogu DPNs. That's what I'm knitting those on. They are some of my favourite DPNs. So the yarn, this is the yarn here. It's this beautiful golden mustardy yellow colour, which is lovely. You know I love yellow socks. So that is my 2 Darcy with Love. Again, I'm happy with the progress I made on those. They're going quite well. Now, next on my needles this week that I worked on was, as I said, my garment. And it is in my really gorgeous Alice in Wonderland bag. I love Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so the sweater I'm knitting now is the Herbarium jumper by NCL Knits. So that's the pattern. Last week, right, let me make sure I'm on the right page. Last week I had gotten the back done and I had put it onto some waste yarn or string, I think, which is what I had at hand at the time. And I know I told you I had spent an evening working out just exactly where I was with my notes, where I was. And I was hoping that it was going to, you know, that was a good decision. It was. When I picked this up last weekend, because I had spent that evening just going back through my notes, which were scribbled on the pattern, when I had gone back through my notes and I had looked at the garment itself, I was able to work out exactly, yes, where I was and what I had to do next, so that when I took up the front, I was able to just start knitting on the pattern. I knew where I was. If I hadn't left so long between this, between when I last worked on it and now, then I wouldn't have had that problem. But thankfully I made really, really good notes. So I was here and I have knit, I'd say about another inch. I've knitted another inch. I am nearly halfway. I'm halfway through what I have to knit on the front before I split for the shoulders on the front. So I'm making progress on it. I'm expecting to get to work some more on this weekend. This and my shawl are the main projects that are lined up for weekend knitting. I tend to knit on my socks during the week I'm going to lose my stitch marker. I tend to knit on my socks during the week when I'm doing school runs or if I'm at meetings or something. So that's how they get worked on. So I tend to leave the weekends for whatever shawl I have on my needles as well as whatever garment I have on my needles. So they are going to be worked on this weekend. So the yarn I'm using is this wonderfully bright, this is Apricot Tulip, and it is Tempo 4-ply from Eden Cottage Yarns. And it's this most gorgeous peach colour. It's lovely. It's gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to relaxing this weekend with that, and with the weather that's out there, we probably won't be doing too much, so that means more knitting time. Lost my stitch marker. I did the same thing last week. I suddenly picked it up and I discovered that the stitch marker was gone. I've dropped it again. So anyway, that's my garment. We will move on to the shawl I'm knitting. Now the shawl I'm knitting is 18. This here is the finished 18 here. The sample of 18, obviously not the one I'm knitting. I am knitting this as part of the Knitterarium Year of You shawl cal. We are in our third one for this year. It is Just Be You is the theme, and it started on May the 1st and it runs until June the 30th. So I am knitting another version of 18 here. Okay, the yarn I'm using is this beautiful chocolate orange yarn colourway from Strand Designs here in Ireland. This is a 600 metre cake of yarn. Yes, 600 metres, and it is 100% superwash merino. That's what it is. And it is so this here is my progress keeper. This is where I was last week, so I got a few more repeats done. I'm actually about halfway through the shawl now. I have the same amount of repeats to work, the same number of repeats to work. to the end. So I'm halfway through it, which is really quick going, so it is. I'm delighted with how this is working up, and it is really growing. And I'm really loving how this chocolate orange is working up in the stitch pattern. I was a little unsure whether it was going to be too busy for the Eaching's lace pattern, but I have to say I love how it's working up. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a lovely shawl to wear. So I'm looking forward to working some more on that. That I am keeping in my beautiful Emerald Fibres hedgehog bag. I love hedgehogs. I really, really love hedgehogs. I've had people tagging me during the week in different hedgehog posts, which I love. It's brilliant. And I may have purchased a new hedgehog bag yesterday in an update, but I'll tell you some more on that during the week if it arrives. So that is my shawl, and as I said, this is part of the Knitterarium Year of You shawl cal. I will put links down below to the specific threads for it in the Ravelry group. The finished object thread with the prizes for this shawl knit along will be up, or is up, in the Ravelry group also, so you'll be able to pop along and look. We have a project bag from Kira of Emerald Fibres. There is a project bag that Kira has so very kindly donated to us, as well as a skein of yarn from Karina from Strand Designs. So, and they are in the finished object thread for this theme, so they are. So that is all that's on my needles at the moment. The tea I'm drinking today is peppermint tea. I've developed a real liking for this peppermint tea. I'm not normally a huge mint fan, but I've really developed a liking for that peppermint tea. We're going to have a small amount of treasure trove now. If you are new to the podcast, I'm looking down here at the, sorry. If you're new to the podcast, treasure trove is the part of the podcast where I show maybe any new acquisitions that have come in. And I know I had none last week. Maybe about a month ago, I had ordered from Karina of Strand Designs some more of her self-striping yarn. She was working on 2 new colorways, and I loved them both. This is Karina's new card. She changed her design logo. So the first one I ordered was this gorgeous self-striping. This one is called Midnight Rainbow. And it's this just beautiful black, and then all these neon bright colours that are knit up in different coloured stripes. I'm nearly sure this knits up black colour, black another colour. I am thinking I'm going to cake this up fairly soon and knit it up. That one is called Midnight Rainbow. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. From Karina, and it is one of her self-striping yarns. One of the other ones I got was this gorgeous, it's called Pretty Little Disaster, and this one is a speckled and cream stripe. So you'll have cream, then different coloured speckles, and so on and so forth. And again, that is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and that is her self-striping yarn. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think I'm actually going to cake up because I'm really interested to see how this one knits up. And I have, last week I remember speaking about having ordered some 9-inch circulars, and I got 2 pairs of Chiaogu 9-inch circulars to try those out. They arrived during the week. I have some 9-inch high-highs coming. I was thinking about trying the Addy asymmetrical ones, but they seem to only do them in a 2 or a 2.5. 2.5, yeah. So I'm not sure, one, whether I like them, how my tension will be, and whether I need to go up or down slightly. I normally knit my socks. Couldn't think of the word. I normally knit my socks on a 2.25. So I'm going to try these first, and I'll probably try just one of these self-striping yarns, because then I can just go round and round and round and round. I'll see what my tension is like, and then I might be able to judge better whether I want the 2s or the 2.5s. Karina also so very kindly sent this beautiful project bag for me. It was such a beautiful surprise. It's absolutely wonderful. I love the poppy fabric, and on the inside, much to my youngest daughter's delight, was this beautiful star fabric. She opened it up and she was, "Oh mummy, there's stars on the inside." She was just completely thrilled with it. She had to show everybody then what mummy had gotten. So that is it's absolutely beautiful, and thank you so much, Karina. It was most unexpected, and it was just beautiful. So that is all I have in Treasure Trove. As I said, I had those yarns ordered, I'd say about a month ago, and I was in no particular rush for them, because I know Karina had some shows that she was doing, and I was in no particular hurry. So it was delightful to get them now. So it was. So we will move on now into the Chitty Chit Chat section. What have I got to talk to you today about? Let me see. As I said, the weather has turned dreadful. It's still raining out there. I'm just checking out the window here. It started to rain this morning, and it has forgotten to stop. So it's not terribly cold. And as I said, all week we had beautiful, blistering blue skies. Oh my gosh, it was absolutely gorgeous. And then today we have the rain back again. Anyway, as they say, it's settling the dust. That's what they say. Thank you for the feedback on the cross stitch from last week. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. It was a shameful box, and I rooted out. I know I had the rosy one out last week, but I still haven't been able to find where I have just put the threads for that. And I can't find the information sheet. I have the pattern sheet, but I cannot find where I've put the information sheet with the list of threads on it either. So I'm going to have another look. It's somewhere. So I rooted in the box of shame for something to start, so that we can start doing something on it. So what I rooted out was this. It was a sampler piece I was going to work up, and it was in all of these beautiful little house needlework. If that'll focus. I don't know whether that will focus. It might not focus through the plastic. Let's see if I can open it. Here we go. There we go. That might focus a little bit better. There we go. So this is a little January cottage. This was a series of cottages released by Little House Needlework back in 2011, and they were released one a month, and the idea was that you would stitch them each month, and you'd have a finished piece, either all in the one or stitch them individually, whichever you chose to do. So yeah, can you tell how well that went? So I have one large piece here of linen. I'm not sure what count this is. Do I have it written somewhere? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what. It's quite fine, so it is possibly 36 count. I think it's 36 count, could be. Anyway, this is what I had started when I went into the envelopes. This was my start on January. I got really far, didn't I? So I rooted this out to try it. So it's, as you see, because it is, I'll have to count the thread count on it. I think it is, looking at it, I think it must be 36, possibly 38, though I really do think it's 38. 30, yeah, it's definitely fine. So the pieces will work up slightly smaller than what they say they're going to be, which I'm not sure. It says it'll finish up 5.5 by 5.5. Sorry, I'm reaching off screen. I'm grabbing a ruler. I'm grabbing a ruler so I can tell you. So my pieces are going to be 4 inches square on it. So that's why it is definitely a smaller thread count linen I have gone down. So I've rooted this out anyway, and I have all the threads for this, which I didn't have with the rosy one that I have to find. So I have all my threads here, different ones. Weeks dye works. I know it takes crescent. What else? And there are some DMC threads that it also takes as well. So I have all the threads and I can make a start on this one. That is the plan. Oh, I found it. It is, no, it's 40 count. I found it, it's on the bag. It is 40 count lamb's wool linen. See? I did have it all along. It's there. It's 40 count. So it's really small and really fine. I'm going to need to get out a magnifying glass to to finish this one. So that is what I'm going to be doing. I think I have all the cottages out in the out with my cross stitch. I know I have February, and I came across March and April in the envelope, so I have the first 4 anyway that I can press on with, and if I don't have the rest I can just get them. That's fine. So that'll be one of them worked and out of the way. So that's that. What else have we been doing? The older children are all on summer holidays now. They have gotten their summer holidays now, and my second eldest, he has exams to sit in. They begin in a week and a half, so he begins those then. So he's still studying at the moment. So we have been watching some movies. I know we watched Rogue One, and we watched Guardians of the Galaxy, I think was something else that popped up, and they watched that, and then our usual TV programs. There is a fly buzzing around my ear. This warm weather just, he's buzzing at my ear. Yeah, I think really that's all chitty chit chat that I have at the minute, because half of the children are on school and half of the children aren't on, half of the children are on school holidays and half of them aren't. It means we're limited in what we can do summer-wise. So we're probably going to use these next couple of weeks while the smaller children finish up for their last few weeks. We're probably going to use those to get jobs done around the place, so that when they're on holidays then we are free to be able to do the summer activities we have planned. That's the idea anyway. And I think really that's all I have in Chitty Chit Chat for you. So I think what we'll do is we will move straight on into the podcast question to you. As usual, the podcast question to you, you can answer it in the Ravelry thread for this episode's show notes, which will be up when this episode goes live. The show notes will be up in the Ravelry group. You can answer this question over there or down below in the comment section, either one. So this week's podcast question to you is, what sort of projects do you knit during the summer? Are they big ones? Are they small ones? I'd be interested to know. So let's see what the answers are, and we'll get some chat going backwards and forwards on that. And that really brings me to the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, because that is the only way to stay up to date with any new uploads to the channel. And that's it really. I hope you have a relaxing knit-filled week, and I will see you all again next week. Happy knitting. Bye.